Western ceremonial magic has a very, very, very close relationship with one particular kind of spirit. If you have performed the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, you have performed the invocation, or the evocation, depending on which term you're reading, of the archangels of the quarters. Angels overall are a very common spirit in Western ceremonial magic. And today I want to cover a little bit about what they are. So, I am Dave the Amateur Magus. On this channel I talk all about the mechanics behind ceremonial magic, occultism, esotericism, and the mechanics behind everything you can find in a dusty old grimoire. If you enjoy what I do here and you want to support the channel, link in the description to the Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to videos early, Patreon exclusive videos, the Occultic Manual series, which is either a instructional or philosophical guide on some major part of occultism, and the Patreon-only live streams, which is a monthly workshop where I talk about various topics voted on by my highest tier patrons. If that sounds of interest to you, link in the description of the Patreon, and if you're already supporting me on Patreon, you have my thanks for your continued and ongoing support to help keep the channel running. For most people studying Western occultism, their first interaction with angels is going to be in the form of the angels that are, just kind of in pop culture. Angels, depending on which branch of Christianity you look at, are fairly common. The big three angels of Christianity, though, are going to be Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael. All three of these angels are actually considered to be archangels, and for all intents and purposes, they, generally speaking, are considered higher level, especially Michael, who is said to be the leader of the armies of heaven. Ceremonial magicians will know of these four archangels as being the four archangels of the quarters, with, starting from the east, those angels are Raphael in the east, Michael or Michael in the south, Gabriel in the west, and in the north we have Uriel or Ariel. I've heard both interchanged. But the question is, what actually are angels, right? Angels are used in ceremonial magic all the time. If you go into a bunch of grimoires, you can find entire catalogs entirely of these angels. So, what do we mean when we're talking about angels specifically? According to Google, the word angel means a spiritual being believed to act as an attendant, agent, or messenger of God, conventionally represented in human form with wings and a long robe. Alternatively, it can be an attendant spirit, especially a benevolent one. So, does that answer our question? Yes, they're just God's mailmen. No, that doesn't answer, that does not answer our question at all. Unfortunately, because there is a lot of stories and mythology. If we take the three primary archangels that I mentioned before, Raphael is notable for being in the Book of Tobit, as helping Tobit banish the demon Asmodeus. Gabriel is said to be the one who gave Mary the message that she was pregnant with Jesus, and Michael is said to be the head of the armies of heaven and the first among the angels, which is a hell of a title, giving God's mailmen an army. Okay, by now it's pretty obvious that there's more than just angels being messengers of God. Attendance is a lot closer to what we're looking for. So we went through and we looked at what the word angel means. Well, let's take a look and see if we can break down what the angel names actually mean. So if we take the word Raphael, the name of the archangel Raphael, and we break down what its name actually translates to, because names do have meaning, we find that that name roughly translates to the healer of God. Or if you want to restate it a different way, God's doctor. Now, God doesn't really need a doctor. God is kind of, impervious to all damage, but other people do need a doctor, and so that is why Raphael is usually called up for healing and various different prescriptions for solving problems. Similarly, if we go through and we take what Gabriel's name means, Gabriel's name roughly translates to the strength of God. Okay, so this is going to be God's strength and God's ability. So this spirit has God's strength, and he is associated with both the moon and the element of water. He is also associated with the sphere of Yesod, which is the foundation. Okay, so that kind of checks out so far. So maybe these angels, the angels as we understand them, are aspects of the divine. They are actually aspects of God. And if we take the name of Michael, Michael's name roughly translates to he who is like God. Okay, so that makes sense. Angels are clearly aspects of the divine. They're clearly aspects of the one, all, monad God, and therefore all of the angels are different, shattered fragments of God, and so that is what an angel is, right? Yeah, pretty much. That is what an angel is. Now, if we go through and we look at all of the different linguistic aspects of the angels, we get various different methods of deriving angels from names of God. You know, we have the Shemham Farash angels, we have the angels of the Anabacoach. We just said that the angels of, you know, the three major angels, Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael, all of those names correspond to some aspect of God, right? And according to Agrippa, if you take any Hebrew word and throw the name El at the end, you will get some form of angel. He specifically says that this works with Hebrew and Latin specifically. So if you wanted to get the angel of Venus, what you could do, and when I say the angel of Venus here, I don't mean Haniel, whose name roughly translates to grace of God or God answers, one of those, and is correspondent to the sphere of Venus. No, you want Nogael, who is going to be the actual angel of proper planetary Venus. No Archangel games going on here. They are the angel of Venus proper. They are not an archangel of anything else. They are the regular angel of Venus. And so doing this, you can just throw the name El at the end of all of these different words, and you will get whatever the angel of that concept is. You want Medim, aka Mars, throw an L on the end of Medim, you get Medimel, or Medimiel, as it's usually pronounced. And according to Agrippa, this works for everything, so you can just take the Hebrew word and you can throw L or various different other suffixes on, and it will lead you to an angel. This leads to an interesting question. Does everything have an angel? Recall that according to what we have kind of surmised here, I'm not saying that this is the exact fact, but this is, more or less how we're viewing this at the moment. Every single angel is a different aspect of the divine, specifically God, but we're just going to call it the divine. So every angel is an aspect of the divine. Gabriel is the strength of the divine. Michael is he who is like the divine. So that begs the question, does everything have an angel? Well, depending on what you are looking at and what you are particularly asking about, the answer is yes. According to various Jewish sources that I've heard about, there is a saying that there is an angel for every blade of grass. There is an angel for every speck of dirt. There is an angel for every concept and everything. Including you, and this is where we get into the Holy Guardian Angel concept. The Holy Guardian Angel is said to be the angel that you are getting when you have performed some great act of devotion. Now, I'm going to call it the Abra Melon. No, this is not the only way you can get in contact with your Holy Guardian Angel. In fact, your Holy Guardian Angel shows up in the Abra Melon process fairly quickly. That's not why you're continuing to pray. You're not continuing to pray for the angel for, 2 weeks and then calling it quits, because there's more to it than that. But when you are getting in contact with your Holy Guardian Angel, you are getting in contact with the aspect of God that is best for you to be personally working with on a regular basis. Following along with what these angels are supposed to be, following along with what angels as a whole are supposed to be, this is the aspect of the divine that is best representing you. Now, in a very as above, so below kind of way, angels are going to represent the highest ideals. They are the highest that we can actually understand because we cannot understand the raw divine in its entirety without some kind of filter. Angels as spirits are going to be the highest we can understand as these kind of filters. Now, is this going to be necessarily are angels perfect? No, actually. Angels, by their necessity, can't be perfect. There is going to be some kind of flaw in angels at various different points. Not everything you get to hear is going to be perfect coming from an angel. The reason for this is because angels are not people. Angels know, generally speaking, what is the best thing to do, but they don't have perfect information. Specifically, they don't have perfect information of what God's plan is supposed to be. Depending on what source you go to, you will find that it is said that the Archangel Metatron and the Archangel Raziel have exactly 50% of God's plan, and they do not talk to each other about it. This is because in every source that is vaguely Abrahamic, you will find that it is said that no one knows exactly the specifics of God's plan. Now, angels are kind of given the information that they need to know for God's plan, because if we look at where the angels are, they are in the realms between the highest divine realm of Atziluth, and the archangels are specifically said to be in the world of Bria, and then the angelic choirs, that are all of the lesser angels, are said to be in the world of Yetzirah. It is the job of the archangels to disperse the information of what needs to be done to the angelic choirs, and then the angelic choirs go about doing God's will to the best of their ability. Angels being imperfect, not everything is going to go one-to-one with what God plans, because God understands that all of his creations are flawed imitations of himself. This is why we are not going to see perfection. We cannot see perfection because it cannot exist. God has done his best in order to make it so that we are going to have the best of our ability, our best understanding of what perfect is, and we're going to keep trying to strive for it, but perfection cannot exist, especially not in the material plane. Okay? Okay. So yeah, what is an angel? An angel is a servant of the divine, and it is a fragment of the divine that is tasked with effectively doing God's will. Now, what God's will is going to be various, it's going to be kind of different depending on what the day is, and these angels are going to be servants of the divine, and you can call them up because they are attendants, and they are going to assist you because that is what God has planned for them to do. God wants the angels to assist humanity, and that is why we are able to call them up, and they usually have to listen to us unless it conflicts directly with God's plan. Now, I want to end this video off on a little bit of an explanation of something. God's plan is the overarching thing that angels cannot go against. However, angels also need to follow the rules, and the rules say that angels are to assist you with conjuring demonic forces if you ask them to assist you with that, because they are supposed to do that. That's just kind of in the rules. Now, if you are calling up demons to subvert God's plan, the angels usually aren't going to interfere with that because they understand that God's plan is eventually going to happen one way or another. The reason they don't allow you to just ask them to directly go against God's will and God's plan is because when you go through and when you are conjuring the angels, they are trying to get God's will to happen in a very particular way, and they don't want to interfere with that. When you call up a demon, the demon doesn't care about God's will. But the angels are still going to make God's will happen, eventually through different means. If someone is supposed to invent some sort of technology, that technology is still going to be invented, even if that person is no longer capable of making that technology for whatever reason. Maybe they lose their job, maybe they end up having a serious accident, something like that. But that technology will still come into existence through another method. Or through the same method, just at a different time. So yeah, thought I would mention that because it came up in the comments section the other day. That being said, I am Dave the Amateur Magus. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Once again, if you want to support the channel, link in the description to the Patreon. Thank you for everyone who is supporting me over on the Patreon. Once again, you have my thanks for your continued and ongoing support, and hope everyone is having a good day. If you're not having a good day, hope your day gets better. Take it easy, take care, and I will see you next time.